Today, let's have a look at training the deficit handstand push-up. So I'm going to use these IKEA steps. They're awesome, super stable. You can kick into a handstand nice on them. Look, they're not going to move around, and they're perfect height to come down into that bottom of the deficit handstand push-up, so the shoulder stand position. You don't have to use those. You could use P-bars, boxers, or anything that works for you. This wall height is really good as well because it means that I can get full length up to a handstand against the wall and not touch the ceiling. And this type of setup is going to be really good if you're working towards deficit handstand push-ups and you already have a freestanding handstand push-up, or at least a crow to handstand, something like this. And you might need a little bit of support from the wall, but your balance is going to be pretty good. I wouldn't recommend doing these drills if your handstand balance is off, or you at least don't have a crow to handstand that's strong. Now let's have a look at the home positions. So home positions is normally the top, so the handstand, the bottom, so the shoulder stand, and then we really need to be comfortable in that under balanced position as well. So top position on whatever you're going to use for your handstand push-ups, kicking up with control to the wall and back down again. Now ideally you'd have that without using the wall, and you can kick up, hold, show control there, and come back down. But we can use slight wall assist if we need to. And then when it comes to the bottom position, that shoulder stand position, we need to make sure that this is nice and strong and also nice and stable. So see how the shoulders and the feet are connected? So I move my shoulders out, feet go in the opposite direction, and vice versa. So I'm controlling that position and movement with the base, with the shoulders, not with the legs. We don't want to be top heavy in that position. So once you have that strong static position there, I'd recommend that you work on slow entries to shoulder stand. So lifting the leg up, so trying to get the leg in line with the torso, come down, elbows come in, and there's a point where weight comes out of that foot, and then I can step into there, and then do the same on the way back out. Then we can make it a little bit more dynamic where I'm changing the weight to the hands coming down into my shoulder stand and back out again. We need to be quite comfortable with catching that position because we are going to go down to that position with those eccentrics. So having some confidence of the position that you're going to is going to be really important. The cool thing with the back to wall variation compared to the chest to wall variation is it's much easier to enter and exit the shoulder stand. If I'm doing a chest to wall like this, it's really tricky to get in and out of the position. But the downside with doing it back to wall is it will promote more of a banana position and could also promote leaning on the wall too much as we go through the movements. So as best we can when we do it, we want to try and be more away from the wall with light assist only. Okay, next let's have a play with that under balance position that I was talking about. Now if you've already got a handstand push-up or a press handstand, you'll be familiar with that under balance position because it takes the shoulders forwards and allowed us to take our hips on the opposite direction. So like that. We can include a slight bend in the arms as well, but making sure that we can do that is going to make it much easier because if I'm pushing in this position, I'm much stronger compared to this position, like an overhead press. An incline press is much easier from a strength and a balance point of view, as long as our torso and the rest of our body is in the right place, so we're not fighting falling in either direction. Once we have those three down, I'm going to start to play with some partial range. So I'm going to kick up to the wall, light toe assist. I'm going to come down a little bit and then come back up again. And I'm just going to play with that. See, I'm going more towards a balanced handstand, especially at the bottom. But when I come back up, I'm going to overbalance, which is going to help me out. And then I'm going to get closer and closer to like a standard floor handstand push-up. So my head is getting closer to where my hands are. And then as soon as that feels warmed up enough, I'm going to go a few repetitions of partial range and then follow it with an eccentric all the way down to the deficit shoulder stand position. So exactly the same, few partial range, using the wall as much as I need to, but not laying the feet on it too much. And then finish it with an eccentric all the way down to that shoulder stand, show control, and then come back out. So then I'm training partial range to get some concentric and some eccentric. I'm training that top position. Then I'm also training a full range of motion all the way down to that full eccentric bottom deficit position. Then we can start to look at the bottom position up. So one way of doing it is the concentric only, and I'm going to get a little bit of stretch reflex, so I'm going to go in, load the muscles and go straight back out, but starting in this position. So load the shoulder stand and push up to my handstand. Now the other thing that helps me with is that overbalance. So I'm coming down and then going up to overbalance. The overbalance definitely helps to get you out of the bottom of the handstand push-up, where the harder version would be to step into the position first, hold, pause, then push out. And you can see that's much harder for me to get up into that handstand. I can use the wall if I need to, but that first one is definitely easier where I go in then up. And then we're probably ready for the full movement. Now, you could argue that the full movement starting at the top, coming down and going back up again is probably easier than that concentric only, but it's going to depend on your strengths, weaknesses, idea of balance and skill of the movement. But what we're aiming for is to come to here, use as much balance as we've got. So use the wall if we need to, come down, go into the eccentric position or deficit position, and then push back out up to that start position. Using the wall as much as we need to on the way down and on the way back up. Now, the more balanced we are as we come up and down, we ride the edge of the underbalance on the way down and the overbalance on the way back up. It's going to change how intense, how hard it is from a strength point of view. I actually find these variations harder than a totally freestanding version because there I can really fine tune that overbalance and underbalance. But these variations hug me to the wall a little bit more, make me more upright, which is much harder to push out of the position. But if your balance isn't quite so good, these are going to help. If you're newer to handstand push-ups, check out this video that takes you through the pike push-up to the floor handstand push-up. If you'd like help with your training, check out my website, www.paultwyman.com.au. I have my app or offer online coaching, and I'll speak to you in the next one.